Joining me now is Executive Director of Speech First, Cherise Trump. Cherise, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, nice to be back.
So tell us more about the 3 university policies at the center of your lawsuit.
Yeah, so the 3 policies that we're representing these students on are the harassment policy, the computer use policy, and the bias-related incident policy. The harassment policy basically says that if students use any speech or conduct that can be considered affecting someone's mental health, abusive or intimidating, then students can be accused of harassment, which obviously harassment is a serious allegation. It can lead to expulsion on the campus, according to the Student Code of Conduct. But these are also incredibly broad and subjective terms. In a day and age where, schools are espousing concepts that speech is violence and that microaggressions can cause people harm and mental health issues, this is, of course, going to be completely subjective to what students consider what causes mental health concerns. So they also have a bias incident-related policy, which is basically asking students to report one another anonymously for anything they consider a bias incident. Now, the way the university defines bias, again, is very subjective and overbroad. It says that anything that is considered overweight or weighted in one way or another, too much to the point where it's unfair or considered unfair, is basically what we call an opinion, is actually going to be considered a bias incident that is reportable under this policy. And of course, students don't know what that means. They have no idea what actually could be considered weighted against them. And the university specifies that this can take place in class, that this could be something in writing, it could be something in email. So students just usually will self-censor in these cases because they actually don't know what they can say. They don't know what kind of debates they can have in class, and they don't know what to say to one another when they're having an open discussion.
Yeah, it seems like these universities have changed to a point where students feel like they're walking on eggshells, so afraid that they're going to offend someone that they don't want to engage with each other in debates. And then why have campuses changed so much in recent years to become less about academics, and it seems like it's more about politics now?
Yeah, it really does seem like it's more about politics. I mean, the terms that are used, all the types of speech that I just mentioned were all constitutionally protected forms of speech, by the way. And this is a taxpayer-funded public university. So they are very much beholden to the Constitution. They can't put content-based restrictions on students just because something is political, just because something is offensive, because those are protected speech in this country. And like you said, it is becoming more political. It seems that universities do have these broad definitions. In a way, you kind of wonder, is it so they can selectively enforce the policies against someone that maybe is going against the campus's woke orthodoxy rather than actually just espousing a basic idea or concept?
Yeah, that's a good point. So these are young, impressionable minds we're talking about here, easily influenced. From what you've seen, are these colleges, these policies, are they biased in promoting one political side over the other?
It begs the question. We've seen students reported to the bias-related incident policy for hashtag Black Lives Matter, but also for publicly supporting President Donald Trump at the time he was in office. So it can go both ways. The point is students are not engaging with one another. The university has completely abandoned the concept of what the university was initially meant for, which is this kind of robust exchange of ideas, challenging one another to develop convictions so you can develop intellectually and become professionals in the world. But instead the universities are more interested in telling students, by the way, these things might offend you, and we're going to create these policies so that you can report on each other like the Stasi in East Germany.
What happened to colleges teaching our future generations how to think and not what to think?
Right. That's a great question, because it seems that, when you get these administrators in place and they are told that their objective is to basically to create a diverse environment and that somehow will lead to the ultimate solution of whatever it is they're trying to accomplish, that diverse environment concept completely takes over what exactly the university is meant to do. So administrators create these policies hoping and stating that they'll increase diversity, but what they really do is actually shut down speech, and they stop students from engaging with one another.
Yeah, so what are you hoping to get out of this lawsuit?
Well, we want to see the bias response team disbanded. We've had a number of successful lawsuits against the University of Central Florida, University of Texas Austin, and the University of Michigan on this issue as well. And they disbanded their bias reporting systems because it was recognized that, look, there's something really, in layman's terms, there's something really weird and creepy asking students to anonymously report on each other so that they can be called into the dean's office and disciplined for their speech and something that they said. In addition to that, we would love to see a Supreme Court standard called the Davis Standard implemented into the harassment harassment policy, which has very, very clear guidelines of what kind of speech can be constituted as harassing conduct. And that puts a high bar of saying that that speech has to be so severe, so pervasive, and objectively offensive that then it can be considered harassing content. Not this kind of overbroad, subjective terminology that the universities like to use that allows them to really enforce it at their own will.
Yeah, what stage is this lawsuit in right now, and what's next? How can we stay updated?
Yeah. So we just filed this week, so just keep an eye on when the court date's set, and then we're looking forward to making the argument in person in the Western District of Oklahoma.
All right, and you will keep me posted. Cherise Trump, Executive Director of Speech First. Thanks for your time once again today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Happy New Year.